As a pastor, one of my jobs is to teach people about God. This is sort of a funny job because God is already with everyone. And I truly believe that by paying attention, people can connect with the divine on their own. And yet, we have a long tradition, and I am informed about that so that I can help other people know ways our tradition says of connecting with God. And sometimes some people find it hard to connect with the divine or hard to live as God would have them live. And so I have been gifted with the wisdom of this tradition to share it with other people. And today I'm going to share some of that with you. The founder of the Methodist movement, a guy by the name of John Wesley, used to talk about there being 4 ways to connect with grace. Grace is God's unconditional love for us. So he says that they sort of fall into 2 spectrums, things we do alone and things we do in community, things we do in action and things we do to feed our spirit. So we have to make sure that we're fed so that we can act, and we have to make sure that we act so that we have a need to get fed again. And we have to do things alone so that we're ready to do things in community, and we have to do things in community and also make sure that we're ready to do things alone. But it's really interesting that when these 4 things come together, we're able to have 4 ways of making sure that our spirits are fed and our actions are the ones that God would have us do. And altogether, they form us into a fuller person and help our communities become fuller. So these are the 4 ways that John Wesley says that we want to think about connecting with the divine. Alone in feeding ourselves, we'll want to do things like prayer and reflection, maybe studying the Bible. Together, to feed our spirit, we do worship and sacraments and study and even group decision-making. But then in action, when we act alone, we act with compassion. We are kind to another person. We give a gift to someone who needs it. And together we seek justice. We try to make the world into how it should be. We've been doing a lot of stuff alone this past year, or mostly alone. And that can be really hard. I suppose that means that when it is safe to do so, in order to balance it all out, we're going to have to do a lot of stuff together. And personally, I can't wait to connect with you in that way. Will you pray with me? God, we thank you for the means of grace, for the ways of connecting with you ever more deeply, alone and together in being fed and in feeding. May we remember and hold all together all these ways of connecting with you and your work in the world. Amen.